Hi, I'm Ariana Katovich, the Executive Director of Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network, and welcome to the Wendy McCall Wildlife Hospital. We're so excited you can join us today for our virtual open house. If you were with us a year ago for the open house, you would have seen our hospital under construction. And now a year later, here we have a state-of-the-art wildlife hospital serving all of Santa Barbara and Ventura County. It's been a dream come true since this organization was founded, and over the last few years planning and designing and building this hospital, and we couldn't have done it without your support. So we're so excited to show you the hospital. We're going to take you on a tour, show you behind the scenes here, and then we get to meet some of our baby animal patients. So without further ado, let's go.
A wildlife hospital has been a dream of Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network since our inception in 1988. After many years of planning and one solid year of construction, the Wendy McCall Wildlife Hospital officially opened its doors in February of 2022. This 5,400 square foot, two-story building contains facilities, resources, and tools to better aid our staff in rehabilitating local wildlife. Before the hospital was completed, our staff were working out of cramped sheds, shared portable trailers, and spaces that were not optimal for the job that needed to be done. Now, the trailers are gone, there's still a few sheds, but we are getting settled into the new building and getting acquainted with the facilities available to our team. Today we're going to take you inside the hospital, show you around, and let you see for yourself why exactly we're so excited about this building. You open the doors to the Wildlife Hospital and enter an inviting, bright lobby. This is where our helpline volunteers answer the phone and where the public will drop off animals for intake. From here, animals will get passed back into the intake room, where team members can perform full exams on every single patient that arrives. The team will check the animal's weight, temperature, hydration level, and body condition, as well as any wounds, injuries, broken bones, and obvious illnesses. The exam room is like an ER, equipped with all the tools the team requires to treat any immediate needs. After the initial exam, the patient will be relocated to its designated area. Right off the exam room is the Seabird Bay. Here, the team can house seabirds and shorebirds that need a more confined, safe space. Critical patients like oiled birds will reside here, as well as pelagic species who require special net bottom enclosures. Once these seabirds are ready for more space or pool time, they'll move to our outdoor aviaries. But before then, they have the facilities they need to ensure the best chances of a successful recovery. In addition to Seabird Bay, the Wildlife Hospital also features a dedicated oil washing wing to treat oiled animals. These facilities feature state-of-the-art washing stations and a drying room. Thanks to our partners at Oiled Wildlife Care Network, this room will be a vital resource in the event of an oil spill. One of the busiest rooms in the hospital is the Songbird nursery. This room is customized specially for the care of songbirds. In the height of baby season, this room can have more than 100 birds in it. Previously, the Songbird room was housed in a portable trailer, a space not exactly made for birds. The new hospital features enhanced temperature control and specialized lighting that mimics the natural lighting of the sun outside. The mammal nursery is another room that was a crucial need for the team. Second to our avian patients, mammals make up a large percentage of the animals we receive. Baby mammals arrive in a very fragile state when they show up at our door. Without the care of their mothers, these babies require constant feedings, specialized heating, and a quiet, comfortable space to rest. Before the hospital, the team was utilizing sheds to house these hundreds of animals. This new and enhanced room allows for even more space and an ideal environment to provide the best care possible. One of the most important parts of wildlife rehabilitation is nutrition, and every single species has an individual diet that is specific to them. That's why a dedicated animal kitchen was an item at the top of the list for the Wildlife Hospital. This room provides extra space to prep diets for the hundreds of animals in our care, most of whom need to eat multiple times each day. That's a lot of meals to prepare. Speaking of meals, The new hospital also features space especially for staff and volunteers, including a dedicated lounge and kitchen for our humans to enjoy their food as well. This building also has offices, storage space, and working areas, a huge step up from the tiny portable trailer that was shared by everyone. But what we really pride ourselves on here at SBWCN is the Carino Veterinary Program. Established in 2020, this program provides the Wildlife Care Network with a full-time vet team, including a wildlife veterinarian and a veterinary technician. It also supports training and advancement opportunities, including veterinary internships. Most importantly, this program allows for advanced healing to take place for the most critical of cases. The veterinary team performs surgeries every week to heal the broken legs of mammals, to remove fish hooks stuck inside of birds, and to repair the wounds of hundreds of animals in need. It's what makes the Wildlife Hospital an actual hospital. These life-saving procedures give these fragile patients the best chance of returning to the wild. Before the Wildlife Hospital, the team performed these critical procedures out of the same trailer where our songbirds were located. This tiny room served multiple purposes. It was the surgery room, exam room, and the X-ray room, which was not ideal when you have hundreds of animals in care. Now, each of these areas have their own dedicated room, allowing staff to work more efficiently and effectively to help these animals in need. There are many animal success stories that can be credited to the veterinary program, but the story of raccoon patient 3873 is a special one. This raccoon was brought to SBWCN after it was believed to be hit by a vehicle. He arrived with severe injuries, including significant head trauma and a fracture in his right femur. While his head injuries improved with medication and supportive care, his leg required special surgical intervention. Luckily, our team had the help of Dr. Simpson from VMSG Ventura to lead this procedure. The surgery involved removing the fractured head of the femur and trimming the fractured edge of the femoral neck. This procedure allowed for the formation of a false joint, in order for him to have full use of his leg again. Sometimes the road to rehabilitation is a long one, but this little guy was a fighter. He spent a total of 3 months in care at Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network, relying on the team to provide food, medication, enrichment, and supportive care. But thanks to their successful treatment, he was able to make a full recovery and was released in March. Healing wild animals is not an easy job, but the Wildlife Hospital will provide the veterinary team with the resources they need to continue making success stories like this happen. While the Wildlife Hospital will be key in the event of an oil spill, it's also already proving itself to be a beneficial space for other emergency situations. On May 14th, the Wildlife Care Network began receiving calls about sick pelicans. In just 4 days, our team rescued more than 90 pelicans in need of care. While the exact cause of their condition was unknown, these pelicans were arriving severely emaciated, hypothermic, weak, and disoriented. The hospital was immediately utilized to respond to these birds in need. The Seabird Bay was transformed into a giant pen to house and treat these pelicans. The new hospital features also allowed us to accurately control the temperature of the room to keep them warm and in a stable condition, all while our team provided fluids, food, medication, and supportive care. This unexpected crisis required our staff, volunteers, wildlife partners, and the entire community to work together to save these pelicans. Not even 4 months into the hospital being completed, and it's already proving to be an invaluable tool in saving wild lives.
Lucky for us, this hospital was built just in time for baby season. Every year from March until August, we receive a huge influx of patients that coincides with breeding and nesting season. Typically, our animals that come in during this time are babies. They're infants, they're nestlings, they're juveniles that need urgent attention. Our goal is always the same: to give them a warm, healing place to grow up and thrive and be released back into the wild. We're going to meet some of these babies, but first, we're going to hear a celebratory song about baby season From my dear friend Zach Gill and the Salty Strings.
Feeling the baby love. So when I Googled baby love, this one came up. Baby love, my baby love. Feeling so much baby love. Gaping mouth of a little crow. Warm and cozy possum toes. Itsy bitsy morning doves. Feeling so much baby love. Baby love, my baby love. Feeling so much baby love. Baby swallows and cottontails. Volunteers with cleaning pails. Open eyes and tiny paws. Healing in the new hospital. Baby love, feeling so much baby love. Baby bottles and chirps of delight. Early mornings and real late nights. Baby mammals and baby birds. The SB Wildlife Care Network. And so much baby love.
During baby season, songbirds make up the majority of patients that come into care at the Wildlife Care Network. Last year, more than half of intakes were songbirds. The spring and summer seasons bring a huge influx of orphaned and injured nestlings, hatchlings, and chicks. The songbird team can see more than 50 different species of songbirds during these spring and summer months, all of which require a species-specific treatment plan. These species include birds that live year-round in Santa Barbara, like hummingbirds, mockingbirds, and finches, but also species that migrate through our area only certain times of the year. Some of these less common species include cedar waxwings, western tanagers, and hooded orioles. It's almost impossible to predict what is going to arrive through our doors each day, so our team has the difficult task of responding to each and every patient as they come in. They set up the appropriate enclosures for them, arrange the correct diet and nutrition, and provide the enrichment and resources they need to thrive. For birds, these needs can vary greatly from species to species. Diets alone are a great example of this diversity. While hummingbirds will consume a lot of nectar, some birds like scrub jays feed primarily on insects like worms and crickets. Others require a nutrient-rich formula to help them grow. Regardless of what they eat, they need to be fed a lot. For most songbird chicks, they need to be fed every 30 minutes from dawn until dusk. For baby hummingbirds, it can be as often as every 15 to 20 minutes. During the height of baby season, there can be hundreds of songbirds in care at the same time. If you do the math, this number can quickly add up to thousands of feedings every single day. By the time one round of feedings is completed, it's already time for the next one. This demanding schedule requires staff to put in a lot of work in the Songbird nursery, and it's where our volunteers become crucial pieces to the puzzle. Without their help, it would be impossible to care for all of these orphaned babies. Thanks to the new Songbird nursery, though, this team has an even better environment for these birds. For years, baby season took place inside the double-wide portable trailer that was also shared with the surgery and exam room. Now, the team has a quiet, temperature-controlled room with specialized lighting made just for songbirds. This year has already brought about a number of songbird success stories, but hummingbirds always seem to be a fan favorite. The team has received almost 40 hummingbird patients since the start of 2022. Most of these birds are brought in as orphan chicks after they are found by citizen rescuers. Without their mom, these fragile babies need a safe place to grow up until they can be out on their own. As nestlings whose feathers aren't fully grown in, hummingbirds need the warmth of an incubator in order to survive. As they mature, they are then moved into a small, soft-sided butterfly enclosure inside of the Songbird nursery. Here, the team begins encouraging them to start feeding on their own, as well as monitor their flight abilities. Once these fledglings are ready to leave the nest, they are upgraded to one of our larger songbird aviaries where they can practice their flight skills. Once they are old enough, self-feeding, and flying strong, they are ready to be released. They can then rejoin their wild population and continue serving as important pollinators for our ecosystem. Songbirds will average about 30 days in care, but when it comes to baby mammals, the road is a little longer. A lot of mammals will rely on the care of their mother much longer than birds do. A newborn raccoon that arrives with its eyes still closed can need up to 6 months of care before it can be on its own. But just like songbirds, the SBWCN team sees an influx of baby mammals during the spring and summer months. A lot of these mammals arrive because they are separated from their mom, but a lot of them are also affected by interactions related to humans. They may be hit by cars, or caught by cats or dogs, but some are even brought in by mistake, by people who don't realize their mom is nearby. Regardless of the encounter, our mammal team is prepared to help every single baby that needs it. The number of species the mammal team cares for isn't as extensive as songbirds, but the diversity of their needs is just as prominent. Some of the more common patients the team cares for during baby season are bunnies, squirrels, chipmunks, raccoons, and skunks. SBWCN will also occasionally help stabilize fawn and coyote pups before transferring them to another rehabilitation center. The most common animal we receive every year, though, are opossums. These mammals arrive by the hundreds every year, mostly because moms can give birth to up to 20 babies. They don't always get the appreciation they deserve, but opossums are awesome. These mammals are not only North America's only native marsupial, but a single opossum can eat thousands of ticks every year. When these baby opossums, also known as joeys, arrive in our care, they need a warm and quiet space to spend their time. The team will get them set up in an enclosure with plenty of snuggly blankets and hiding spaces for them to sleep comfortably. As infants, these patients need frequent feedings of a nutrient-dense formula. But as they begin to grow older, the team will start introducing solid foods and a variety of new treats. Opossums are opportunistic omnivores, meaning they will eat just about anything they come across, whether that's fruit, veggies, insects, rodents, or eggs. These hungry critters thoroughly enjoy their variety of treats, when they're not also making a mess of it. If there's one word to describe baby mammals, it's messy. Whether it's opossums, raccoons, or skunks, these babies are frequently walking through their food, tipping over their dishes, and making sure their enclosures are properly coated in whatever food is around. This makes cleaning just as important of a job as feeding, and our team does a lot of it. With hundreds of babies in care at a time, the loads of laundry and piles of dishes seem to be endless, and sometimes a bath is needed too. Needless to say, taking care of baby animals is not a glamorous or easy job. It's messy, time-consuming, and hard work, but the happy endings for these patients is what makes it all worth it. The Wildlife Hospital is located just 4 miles from the beach, which means we care for a lot of local seabirds and shorebirds. Santa Barbara is home to a wide variety of species, but also serves as a pit stop for many other species migrating through. In 2021, the Wildlife Care Network cared for more than 30 different species of seabirds. Some of the more common species we see every year include pelicans, gulls, cormorants, herons, and grebes. Some of the more rare species we received in 2021 were a Bonaparte's gull, a long-tailed duck, a marbled godwit, and killdeer. These birds arrive for a variety of reasons. Some arrive with injuries, whether it's a broken wing, ingesting a fishing hook, getting entangled in fishing line, or because they were caught by a dog. Others arrive because they're emaciated or weak from migration. But one of the most common reasons these birds come in is because they are oiled. Santa Barbara has one of the world's largest natural oil seeps, so these birds arrive because they are impaired by this naturally occurring oil. When it comes to oiled animals, it's a team effort. The Wildlife Care Network works closely with our partners at International Bird Rescue and Oiled Wildlife Care Network in making sure these animals get the treatment they need. And now, with the new wildlife hospital, our center will be a critical resource in the event of an oil spill in the future. Outside of the new hospital, upgrades were also made to our outdoor seabird aviaries. One of the more critical improvements was the addition of specialized pools made just for our duckling patients. Mallard ducks are one of the top 5 most common patients the Wildlife Care Network receives every year. In 2021, we cared for more than 250 mallard ducks. Of these patients, more than 80% arrived as ducklings. These ducklings typically come in because they get separated from their mom and won't be able to survive on their own. Depending on how old they are when they arrive, they may need to be in care for up to 2 months. At their tiniest stage, these fluffy ducklings are placed in a large, soft-sided enclosure where they receive special waterfowl food and care from the team. These birds develop quickly though, so it's not long before they are upgraded to one of the new duckling pools outside. These enclosures are equipped with heating capabilities and small pools for the ducklings to start working on their swimming confidence. Just a few weeks later, when they've started developing their juvenile feathers, they get to move out to the big kid pool. This expanded space allows them the freedom to swim, fly, and feed until they are ready for release. When the time finally comes, the group is released together, so they have each other as support out in the wild. Along with songbirds, mammals, and seabirds, the rest of the patients at the Wildlife Care Network are primarily raptors. Raptors, or birds of prey, are avian species that primarily hunt other vertebrates as their food source. This includes hawks, eagles, owls, falcons, and vultures. Last year, SBWCN received more than 160 raptors in need of care. The most common raptor patients in 2021 were red-tailed hawks. Second to that were great horned owls, barn owls, and Cooper's hawks. Some of the less common patients in care were merlin, turkey vultures, and a golden eagle. As birds of prey, these animals don't have a lot of natural predators out in the wild, so the reason they usually come into care is because of an encounter with humans. Many experience head trauma and ocular trauma from being hit by a car. Others arrive with wounds or fractures after being shot, and many arrive with issues associated with rodenticide poisoning. These birds are resilient, so they usually only come into care when they have serious injuries or illnesses. Thankfully, the Wildlife Care Network has an important partner in the Ojai Raptor Center, who specializes in rehabilitating birds of prey. SBWCN works closely with them to make sure these birds get the care they need. During baby season, SBWCN will also receive a number of raptor nestlings that are brought in by citizen rescuers. Like other birds, sometimes these nestlings fall out of the nest a little too early. When this happens, and the bird isn't injured, the best thing to do is put the bird back in the nest. While our team steps in for a lot of animals, the parents will always do a better job at raising their young. The challenge with some of these raptors, however, is that their nests are really high up, making it a difficult task to actually re-nest them. In these instances, SBWCN receives help from a variety of local arborists to assist in reuniting the family. Most recently, our team was able to help install a new owl box for a group of barn owl nestlings. After 3 days of care, these birds were returned to their nesting site, and the parents came back and resumed taking care of their chicks. We'd be remiss if we also didn't mention the handful of reptiles and amphibians we care for every year as well. Though not as common as the birds and mammals we receive, these snakes, lizards, and frogs are just as important patients as the rest of them. No matter the species of animal, it truly takes a network to continue serving our mission. From the citizen rescuers that call us about animals in need, to the transporters that bring them to our hospital, to the animal care team that works hard to rehabilitate them. It takes all of us working together collaboratively to make these success stories happen. The animals here in Santa Barbara and all over the world face a lot of challenges out in the wild, from urbanization and habitat destruction to drought and climate change. Every year it's becoming harder and harder to be a wild animal. The good news is that there are a lot of easy steps we can all take to live in harmony with our wild neighbors. By implementing these simple changes into your life, you can rest assured that you're helping save wild lives. Tip number 1, hold off on tree trimming until the fall and winter months. Many animals, like birds and squirrels, arrive into our care because their nests are destroyed by tree trimming. They are more likely to nest in the spring and summer rather than the fall and winter. Number 2, keep cats indoors when possible, especially during the spring season. The Wildlife Care Network receives hundreds of animals every year, including birds, baby bunnies, and baby opossums that are severely injured by cats. It's also a good idea to keep your dogs on a leash, especially when wildlife is around. Tip number 3, avoid rodenticide, glue traps, and snap traps. While they are normally intended for rodent control, a lot of other wildlife can become unintentional victims. Rat poison in particular can harm animals throughout the entire food chain. Avoid accidental baby nappings. If you find a baby animal, make sure mom isn't nearby first. Mammals like rabbits and deer will only come back to feed their babies a few times a day. If you find a baby bird on the ground, follow the flowcharts on our website to determine if it's just a fledgling or if it actually needs help. And whenever you're in doubt, always call the Wildlife Care Network helpline. We're open every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to help answer your wildlife questions. Our number is 805-681-1080.
Thank you so much for joining us on our tour. I hope you enjoyed it and are inspired for the work that we do for wildlife. Now that we have built more, we can do more for our wild animals in need. There are so many ways to support the Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network. You can donate on our website, you can buy an item off of our baby season gift registry, or shop our Amazon wish list. And you can also text to give. We also invite you to join us as a volunteer here at Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network. As they say, many hands make light work, and we definitely need a network to save wildlife here. From feeding baby birds to helping us clean to answering the phones, there's something here for everyone. And we invite you to go to our website on our volunteer page and sign up to help. You're also welcome to follow us on social media. Facebook and Instagram are great ways to stay in touch with us, learn great facts about wildlife, and of course, see incredible photos and videos of the animals that are here every day. I really encourage you to join our network if you haven't already. Become a donor. Continue to support the work here. The success of these animals is a direct reflection of your support. We work 365 days a year to save as many animals as we can and put them back into the wild. Thank you again so much for joining us and for your interest in our work here for wildlife.